It's the Morning Brew with Elle Dawson and Gillian Robertson. Brought to you by Fight Bananas.
Good morning, people. It is the Sunday Morning Brew. Apologize for my face today. To my left is Gillian the Savage Robertson. How you doing, G?
I'm doing good. How are you today?
I'm good. I can, maybe if I just like hold it open. There we go. I can see you guys better.
That fight life, man.
We're here. We're at them. It's Sunday. Nobody's allowed to hit me in the face today. But UFC Perth. Let's talk about UFC Perth because it was solid. Like for how do I put this? I do feel like how quite often we see like when these cards go to these countries that have really big fan bases, that maybe aren't normally MMA countries. SG said, "Whoa, morning, SG." That aren't necessarily fight countries. Like I feel like when you go to Brazil, Brazil is a fighting country. I wouldn't necessarily call Australia a fighting country. So like I do think it's getting there, but you definitely get like we see like Jamie Malarkey comes out of the ocean once a year to be on a UFC Perth card, you know, and they usually give him a really favorable matchup. And so I do think we saw maybe some more one-sided matchups on this card, but overall it was a fun fight night. There were lots of finishes. I'll give it a C plus. Yeah, B minus, C plus. What do you think?
Australia actually currently has the most UFC champions right now.
True. They also like if we think about it's newer there. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a newer there.
I feel like it is newer there, but I feel like that being said, it is one of the bigger emerging, like MMA hotspots, kind of. I feel like within the last couple of years, we've seen so many people come out of Australia, New Zealand, that like, especially like city kickboxing, they just keep on producing like star after star, it seems like. I feel like there's a lot of guys that are, and girls coming out of there now where, right now we're not really seeing as many American or Brazilian champs, you know? So like Australia, I think is like really coming up lately, but last night, I think whenever the UFC goes to like certain countries, like whenever they're traveling abroad far, we see a lot of times one-sided matchups. Like we saw it in Shanghai, we saw it in Mexico City, we see it again last night where
sometimes like, yeah,
it's just kind of typical, you know, they have a lot of their guys on the card. They want to get their guys better fights. That being said, I'm like, just the level of this card as a whole, I feel like there's very few fights that I watched on it and was like, this is a UFC fight. So many, like, they just felt almost like a regional, like a good regional level show. Like, it was definitely good, fairly well-paced fights. Like, they weren't like boring fights. They just didn't seem at the highest level.
To be honest with you, one of the biggest exceptions to that, in my opinion, were the ladies. Alexia Thainara especially. Dude, that girl's really good. Like, I was very, very impressed with her. This was a great fight, too. This was a banger. Once Michelle gets fights to the ground, I think you see her technique and her level is above a lot of women at that level. So I'm super excited to see her just continue to develop. But man, like Michelle's my girl. I love her. I'm super pumped for her, but I have got to give some props to Alexia Thainara. Just the blend of her game between the striking, the grappling. She had some sick takedowns, like some really slick, like I wrestle. Loma defends well because she's got strong hips, good Muay Thai fighter with good takedown defense, good UFC record. Like Loma is I feel like a really solid fighter. You would see her defend a really nice shot and Thainara would just chain wrestle beautifully off of it. So I'm very impressed with her. I'm assuming you had eyes on that fight. Obviously, that's your weight class.
Yeah, obviously. And I guess seeing Thainara come in her second fight in the UFC, getting Loma, who is 14th ranked, I was surprised at that initially, being like, only 2 fights in, you're getting a ranked opponent already. And but she definitely put on a good performance. I guess I wasn't as impressed as you were. I think she had a good first round. She really slowed down a lot after that in the second and third. Just kind of was very, I don't know, just pushing her up against the cage more than anything else. I feel like in the second and third round. First round, I feel like she did have a good performance though. The next 2 rounds didn't impress me as much.
Fair enough. I was impressed. I was. And but this is a good one. Ooh, I would actually really like to see this fight. Her versus Loopy. I would really like to see her fight somebody who can wrestle. Like who is known for having good wrestling. And I think Loopy Godina is a very well-rounded fighter. I know she doesn't always wrestle as much in her fights now, but she definitely has the capability and the defensive wrestling. She's 14. Where's Loopy ranked? Do you know? That's your division.
Yeah. Should I know everything?
You should know, Gillian.
I'm not 100% sure about Loopy.
I'm not sure either. I also want to go back to this because I keep seeing this pop up. People are saying flyweight versus featherweight. Yeah, I mean, Carolina missed weight a lot at 125, or maybe just once. Twice.
Carolina missed weight for her last fight, and then her opponent got cut.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Was that the Steranko or the Pudilova fight?
No, when she was supposed to fight Montana De La Rosa.
Oh, right. That the fight didn't happen. Did Montana say no? Is that why they cut her?
Yeah, Montana said no, and they cut her and gave Luana another chance. And I'm like, is that fair?
I mean, probably not. Montana De La Rosa is 6-5 in the UFC. Luana Carolina was 6-3, now 6-4. So we'll see. She moved up to 135. I will say Michelle is a very small featherweight. Michelle is a true bantamweight. I don't think she is killing herself. She even came in a little bit under. She actually came in lighter on the scales than Luana Carolina did. So I don't think I think Michelle has always been a 135er. She just didn't have that option to fight at 135 in the PFL. And there's no way that girl is making 125 because she is a beefy girl. Girl's got some freaking muscle on her. But looking like the KO from Olberg got her too. I got elbowed in the eye at sparring yesterday, guys. That's all. I'm fine. But this was the one I wanted to pull up. This was I missed. I know there was a comment I missed. Guys, the crowd was quiet because there was no crowd. No one was there. And I have no idea why the UFC decided to do this. I usually understand their decision making, but who is going to buy a ticket to the fights that start at 6 a.m. regionally? That would have the main card starting at 9 o'clock in the morning.
I don't know why, but I know the English fans would. I feel like they always have their cards super early.
Clearly did not. But yeah. I am the UK fans, Jake, I see you in the comments. The UK fans are crazy.
Yeah.
I'll watch UFC 40. This is gonna be. I'm surprised there's no Grant beating me jokes in the comments yet. I'm sure somebody will come through with that. But no, the UK fans are nuts. You guys will watch at 3 o'clock, every week. You guys watch at 3 o'clock in the morning, but apparently the Aussie fans did not come through like you did. So
it like I said, even just the level of the card though, they didn't really have the star power on the card. They didn't. Obviously, they had a lot of Aussie guys, but they didn't have any big just UFC names in general. So I feel like that didn't really have the draw to it. Obviously, I don't understand why we're gonna do a card not at the time of where it's at. When we did the Shanghai card, it started at 6 a.m. in America. Right. I'm like, why not do the same for the Australia card? Why what's the difference between the Shanghai card less than a month ago and the Australia card now?
It would have made, if there was, like you said, if there was an Israel Adesanya or a Volkanovski on this card, it might have made, if this was a pay-per-view card, it might have made sense to make it US time. But I don't think a card like this drew enough eyes from the US to put it at US time rather than put it at the proper time in Australia. Not to mention, it was super late for us here too. So
I was going to say that, man.
a lot of people did not stay up for the main event.
Oh yeah, I was struggling last night. I was like, even just to make it to the main card, 10 p.m. Like, I don't know that it to start fight nights that late seems. I don't. I understand the pay-per-views. To start fight nights that late, I don't get it.
Yeah, no, I don't get it either. I would have, which I get, like, that they probably were like, okay, well, we're gonna do it in the morning in Australia. We definitely can't start earlier than 6 or nobody's gonna be there. Like, it literally, if you saw, the UFC usually does like a post and it's like whatever, like, stars are there, and they were like, yeah, there were so many stars there, and it was like, yeah, sure, Israel, Dan Hooker, like Volk, like the main people you would see at a UFC show, but then if you look behind them, it's just empty. Like, there's not a single person in a seat. And I was like, those were the only people that came, are the people that were there to watch their teammates.
Because they had to corner.
Also, I feel like there were a lot of Brazilians there. Is Brazil closer to Australia than I think it is? Because for me, I was like, isn't that like the same as flying from the US?
Yeah, I have no idea. Whenever I flew to Brazil, I know I fought in Sao Paulo, and I know it was 8-hour flight, and I was surprised. Yeah, I was still surprised though that it was that far. I thought it was closer. I was like, oh wow.
But it's just straight shot south. Like, you're in the same time zone when you fly to like Rio or Sao Paulo usually. Like, you usually don't have to switch time zones.
Yeah, I think it was like an hour different, maybe. Yeah.
Australia is literally opposite time zone. So in my mind, it's also on the opposite side of the world from Brazil, like it is the US. So I was like, why are there so many, like, why was Roofy there? So random.
See, honestly, I actually even made a joke to my boyfriend because I was like, "Oh, that's Roofy," and then I was like, "Wait, no, he wouldn't be in Australia." Didn't even realize that it was actually him.
Him. They picked a time where it would be nighttime for everybody. Honestly, they're like, let's pick a time when everyone will be asleep, no matter where they live. So now the UFC needs Alex to win, and they get what they wanted: Gilbert versus Alex. And then do what Dean said, trade Ankalaev for Dakota. Dude, I mean, they were totally prepared to trade Merab for Dakota before he was champ. I think the difference is that was before Merab was champ, not after he was the best guy in the world in his division. So there's definitely, it's a little bit dicier probably at this point. But I'm not dogging on Dean for saying he'd rather watch Dakota fight than Ankalaev, because I'm kind of with him.
Dean was saying, he's like, I said that in an interview like 2 or 3 years ago, and then it came out somehow. So then now he's like, know what? I'm doubling down on it because I still stand with it. So now it's coming out again. But I'm like, if you want to consider like Merab versus Ankalaev, even like as champions, who has the big, like,
yeah,
Merab's such a huge star power at this point, where Ankalaev doesn't really have that following, that fan base, and even just like a necessarily entertaining fighting style, like something that people do want to watch. So I'm like, and it's understandable when it comes to the entertainment, the business side of it. I'm like, Dakota is the bigger star.
No, 100%. I mean, how often have we seen fighters that aren't in the UFC nominated for Fighter of the Year? How often does that happen? I'm pretty sure it might be 2 years in a row for her. Like, we don't see this very, very often. I do think Kayla Harrison was one of them. But she, once again, it was very obvious what her path was at the time, that eventually she was going to be in the UFC and be a champion. Like, we kind of saw it before it happened. And I think the same is probably true for Dakota. And here it is. We have, once again, not gotten through a single Fight Bananas show without talking about Dakota Ditcheva. I knew she'd be in the comments anyway. So, but I think the story is very similar for her. I'm sure, hopefully she'll be back in town soon. We'll have her. We need to have her do a morning brew with us. That's what we need to do. That'd be fun. But let's get back to UFC Perth. Because it's already been 15 minutes and I do have to make this a shorter show today. But I definitely think you're right with the level. One of the fights that stood out to me the most on this was Colby Thickness, that's last name, versus Josias Musasa. One guy, so way better striking, nothing, like decent takedown defense, but once he was on the ground, like white belt level grappling off his back. Other guy just getting his absolute ass beat on the feet, has nothing on the feet, really solid on the ground, like just polar opposites, right?
Absolutely loved that fight from both sides. Honestly, I became such a huge fan of Musasa in that fight. Just the way that he throws his strikes, you hear that. Every single punch is like thudding when it lands. I was like, that dude, I wanted to see that fight on the feet the whole time. Every time they got on the ground, I was like, dude, just explode, just get up. I'm like, you're athletic enough, you can just do it. Just get up. I'm like,
It probably is. It's just, I think, a lack of knowledge there.
yeah, but I'm like, that dude, he can strike. He's got, even when he was like, he was getting into some wrestling position, just throwing him off and striking off it. I absolutely fell in love with his striking style. And like Colby Thickness looked great on the ground. Anytime he did get it to the floor, was able to just work his game. But Musasa was the star of that for me. I'm like, even when he was losing, I was like, come on, get up, get up.
So, how did you score that fight?
I definitely I scored it Colby winning.
Okay. I actually gave it to Musasa. And I do think it was close. I just felt like I thought Musasa very clearly won. Obviously lost the first. Like the first 2 rounds were super easy to score, right? Colby won the first, smashed him on the ground. Musasa definitely won the second. Colby couldn't really get him down that much in the second round. That third round, I felt like Musasa won the entire first 4 minutes. And then I just didn't feel like Colby did enough in that last minute once he did get the takedown to really steal the round back. I didn't see enough damage personally. And that's coming from me, who is always very biased towards grapplers. Have not watched it back, but I feel like I wouldn't have been mad if Musasa had gotten that decision.
Yeah, I guess I need to watch it back. I definitely agree on the first 2 rounds. In the third round, I remember a lot of Musasa just being like, he was defending takedowns, but just not being able to get off the cage a lot as much. So I'm like, just more due to, I guess, inactivity. Like Colby was just holding him up against the cage or getting the takedown, being able to secure position. I felt like he just had more control, and Musasa didn't do enough damage in that third round to really, I guess, win it against an Australian.
That is fair. I definitely think that was very true as of last night. I mean, there were definitely fights where obviously like there weren't any like glaring robberies in my opinion. Like Michelle very clearly won. She went to the judges scorecard. I think she had a couple 10-8 rounds, at least one 10-8 on a judges scorecard. But I definitely feel like that was a very close fight. I thought Malarkey won his fight. I did think Bedoya, if he had fought like he did in the third round earlier in that fight, I think that would have been his fight. Man, he is just one of those guys where I feel like he just can't put it together. Hey, he looked small, even at lightweight. And he was he was fighting at welterweight when he came into the UFC.
Yeah, I really think that Malarkey was just freezing him up with those shots. Like he was so scared of getting taken down after, like he shot a clean double leg in the first round and was able to just control him the rest of the round. And then second and third round, we really got a different fighter. I think like the way Bedoya came out in the first, like he came out to strike. And then after that first takedown, it just completely shut him down.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about the up kick. We need to talk about this because I have to talk about this. If you foul on the ground, you go back to the ground. I would rather not have my opponent lose a point than lose my freaking position that I worked super hard for, especially considering Michelle got dropped on the feet. If that girl had gotten back up, clipped Michelle and finished her, like that's totally that ref's fault. I was so upset about that. That is bad reffing.
This is maybe, this is me just questioning the rules. If you really watch the video slow, I'm like it's her top of her foot on the ground, not her knee. I'm like, I just don't know the rule set for it. Like what is if you watch the slow motion, it's like her knee's like an inch off the floor when that kick lands.
I didn't go back to watch it back. It looked pretty clearly like a foul to me, but I didn't go back to watch it.
Her knee is like Michelle's knee is probably like less than like you can see it in the slow motion. Her knee's just up off the floor, but her like the instep of her foot is on the floor still. So she's just elevated a little bit. And I'm like, is that grounded there if the top of your foot is on the floor, but your knee is not?
I think we need to address intent because there's no way like she didn't look like she was coming up, you know? She looked like she was down. And if you're Luana Carolina, there's no way you could see her knee coming off the ground a little bit. So I think you have to take intent into it.
Yeah, you could argue though that little bit of her knee coming off the floor was her coming back a little bit, you know, so she might have been feeling her pressure off and trying to kick to push her away. I don't know. I'm like just watching it. It's definitely obviously I understand why the ref called, like I would have called it the way he did in the moment. Like it looked very intentional with a knee on the floor. But I'm like just like talking like very, you know, like I don't know, the rule set of MMA. I'm not sure what would be considered in that position, like if that is the case, you know?
Yeah, I'm not honestly not sure. Would it be considered like an action variance or I I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Well,
But with it dealt the way it was, she should have gotten that position back. I hate when that happens.
talking about refs though, last night with the Neil Magny.
I am a huge Neil Magny fan. I think he's a great guy. I think he's a great fighter. Sir, you have 50 professional fights. You should freaking know better. You should know better. You do not let your arm go limp, especially an arm you do not need to fight the choke. That arm should be giving a thumbs up. That arm should be active. You should know better.
And one of the commentators made the argument, which I could kind of see maybe. He said he might have been moving his arm, trying to get like a little bit of space, like trying to create, I don't like it, maybe just like change the angle, knowing that there is short time, knowing like just trying to survive a little bit. I don't know. I'm like,
do it with a thumbs up.
I don't know. I guess I've never been in that position too, to be like I've had to give a thumbs up in a fight in the UFC where it's like that high pressure, just thinking of it instantly instead of thinking of like personally. I think I would just think of defense more than anything else. Like, but I don't. Just such a weird scenario to have your fight called and to get up and celebrate for a couple seconds. You're like, yes, it's over. Then be like, wait, no. I still have to do 2 more rounds because he actually wasn't out. The ref messed up. Like, because the ref definitely screamed. He's like, he's out and called it. And then he goes over to the corner. He's like, no, the fight's still on. So like the ref was like, oh, my bad.
Which like probably a mistake on the ref for not waiting. Like, okay, the bell's about to go. If he's actually out, you'll see it after the bell, right? So wait to call the fight until the bell hits because nothing's going to happen to him in the 0.5 seconds from you realizing he's out until Matthews lets go of the choke because the round's over, you know? So like, okay, let's wait, let's address the situation, then let's make a decision. Obviously, I don't think it affected the outcome of the fight in that the fight wasn't over, but I don't think like if it had gone to the end of the round and the ref hadn't called it, that the fight wouldn't have ended the way it did because Neil Magny is the best damn 3rd round fighter probably on planet Earth at this point.
I was just going to say that you can't let that dude get out into the later rounds. I'm like, his last couple wins have all been, he's had very rough 1st and 2nd rounds, then come out and just dominated, gotten a finish in the 3rd. And I'm like, he does it over and over again. It's awesome to see. Like you said, he has how many fights now and just keeps on pushing out these wins and just shows what a true vet really is.
No, 100%. And like I said, I'm a huge Neil Magny fan. I do think he should know better at this point in his career than to let his arm go limp there. But I'll address this comment from SG in a minute because that doesn't make any sense unless that's somebody else. But I can't not be impressed with him because to be honest with you, the first 2, like when we assessed this fight on Tuesday, I was like, I just don't see a path to victory skill set wise for Neil Magny. And I think that showed. Matthews was also, I had no idea he was Australian. In my mind, he's been like a good old American boy for like years. I completely forget that Jake Matthews is Australian all the time. But he like Matthews had the sharper boxing. He did such a good job getting inside, staying out of the clinch for those first 2 rounds. And then, and just the wrestling and the grappling, he was flowing on top. His grappling looked absolutely beautiful. And it was exactly how I thought the fight was going to go. But Neil Magny just doesn't go away.
Jake Matthews, he reminds me kind of like he's taking like a page out of Dustin Poirier's book. Great boxing, jumping for the gilly. Like,
but jumping very intelligently, I will say.
Yeah, no, and even when the first time when he did get the guillotine in the first round, when he didn't but did, Neil was already past to side control, like essentially in a Von Flue position. Matthews was able to replace his guard and start getting that choke again where it was tight. Like it was definitely the point where it was a very threatening choke at that point where it like he was able to just like, I don't know, chain it together and be able to still utilize the guillotine even after Magny had already essentially nullified it.
And I feel like the way he sits to it, like is the piece. Cause I think a lot of people, they just jump guard and they go straight back. He always sits to his like choking arm side hip deep. Like he is deep on that hip, which gets him very much on the side. So he's already ready to like to sweep, to scramble, to come up on top and utilize it. And I really, really love that. I'm going to have to steal some of that for my game. This is weird, right? Apparently Jack Hermanson, who is a massive middleweight, by the way, is going down to welterweight. And then Orolbai is going up and they are fighting. I mean, Orolbai is not a small lightweight by any means, but like, how the heck is Jack Hermanson making 170? Isn't he like old now? like kind of. Okay. I'll take your word for it, SG. I honestly have seen nothing about this. So I don't know. I also saw something, sorry to change the subject. I don't know if you saw this, but I only saw like one outlet post this, so I don't know if it's real. BSD and Beneil Dariush for 322. I don't know if that's set or if that's made up. Interesting matchup if it is set, but I don't know.
I don't know. I haven't heard that one either.
Sorry, we haven't heard anything. Sorry, SG. We kind of touched on Jamie Malarkey. We did not even talk about the main event yet, so I'll try to push us through this card and not let us get too distracted. It's my fault. I'm a little concussed. But we Cam Rouston, great showing. Honestly, very impressed with him. I think Andre Petrosky is a decently tough guy. He can wrestle. He's got power. I feel like Rouston here definitely delivered. I think there's a lot of hype behind him. He's huge at middleweight too. It's super, super tall. So I feel like he's I'm interested to see what they do with him next. Because he's definitely an athlete. He's long, he can kick, he can kickbox. Like I'm interested to see who they give him next. I don't know who the plan is. There was somebody else I missed. Oh, I freaking love this heavyweight that was on the prelims. Paripchik.
Oh yeah. Dude. I was going to say that the first time I've been excited for a heavyweight, and I don't know how long. We haven't had anything good, even in the heavyweight division, never mind coming into it, in a long time. I'm like, his striking just was crisp, got that knockout clean. Even like the way he was handling the wrestling, the takedowns, everything, just a great performance. I'm like, I haven't seen something like that from a heavyweight in a long time.
No, I agree. And just his physique alone. 6'5". He's not a fat guy. Like, he is an athlete. Like, this is what we want the heavyweight division to be. This is what the heavyweight division once was before USADA came and ruined it. I'm really excited about this guy too. And to be honest, I'm interested to see if Elisha Ellison will go down to 205 because he's not a super big guy. And I think he may do better there. So I kind of hope he does go down to light heavyweight because I actually really like him as well. I just don't know that he's big enough to be a heavyweight, especially against a guy like Brando, who's 6'5" and a unit. Like
massive.
Unit. But got to give flowers to Navajo Sterling. I've always been really impressed with him. Belato's a decently tough guy. Solid chin. It was honestly a pretty fun fight. I thought Sterling looked good. I've seen people kind of being like, he was kind of meh, but like I thought he looked good. Like, he's new in the UFC. He only has 8 professional fights. I felt like he performed the way he should have, for somebody who's moving through that division right now. I don't know if you had any thoughts on that fight specifically.
Bellato in his last 4 fights is now 1-1-1-1.
That's too funny.
Yeah. A win and a loss, a draw, and a no contest.
Wow, that's
1-1-1-1.
Yeah, that's honestly, at this point, I feel like he's just out trying to collect these items.
Yeah, got to go for the DQ next.
Brando versus Derek Lewis. I think we give Brando some time to get his feet wet in the division, but I'd love to see that fight. I would. But okay, we have comments in the question. We have questions in the comments that I will try to come back to at the end, guys. I'm not ignoring you, but dude, I wanted like 3 more rounds of Tom Nolan and Charlie Campbell. That was probably my favorite fight on the card. I wish it had been longer. That was so much fun.
You could just see Charlie Campbell was putting his all into it. He was coming out there all heart. It was just fighting for that win. A little bit reckless, but he was going for it.
and had a heck of a chin. Like, ate some really hard shots. I just gotta point out, Chris Duncan knocks the brakes off of Charlie Campbell, which makes this even more impressive looking at him take these shots from Tom Nolan, who I really like. Honestly, I'm very impressed with Nolan at this point. I feel like he's definitely like has some room to grow, but I think he's going to do well. I'm interested to see how he does with somebody who wrestles pretty heavy. I don't know that he's got the ground game on bottom to deal with that. I definitely think he has good, solid ground game on top, obviously, but I am interested to see how he does in a division that is so grappling heavy, like lightweight. You've got a lot of really good wrestlers there in that top 15. But he's got room to grow, only 11 professional fights. But I like the kid a lot. He's fun to watch.
Just from the clench, he's vicious with those knees and elbows. The knees he was finding over and over and over again. I'm like, I think that's really what injured his opponent at the end, like right before he was able to get the finish too. He landed another little nice knee in the clench. But yeah, just taking them over and over. You can only take so many of those to the stomach before you're going down.
No, 100%. What is this? Is it weird on the prelims, Urslan being main card? I think Urslan wasn't on the main card. I think Jimmy Crute was on the main card, and Urslan just happened to be his opponent, I think is what happened here. Because Sterling's still pretty young in the UFC. What, like 2-3 fights? I don't know.
Me too.
Young in the UFC. Very young in the UFC. But I don't think they'll have them fight each other. Sterling and Crute. Like, have you ever had them? Have they ever had like 2 Aussies fight each other in Australia? Has that ever happened?
Not that I can think of.
Yeah, they usually don't match them up together because they want as many local guys on those shows to get wins as possible. So it's a kind of a lose-lose situation. You lose a guy either way. But maybe. I could be wrong. Crute said he'll fight outside Australia. He's like 3-0 in Australia.
I feel like he just doesn't fight that often. Every time I watch Jimmy Crute fight, at least his last couple of fights, I feel like he always really impresses me on the grappling. And this one, obviously, we didn't get to see it that far. I'm like, his last couple of fights, he kind of gasses out after that. But I'm like, usually his first round, he always looks so good on the grappling. And again, that's what we saw last night. I feel like he has a very dominant first round, comes out, his wrestling looks great, very technical on his grappling. And last night he was able to find the submission. I'm like, I want to say he has multiple first round finishes as well. So I think that's like his goal. That's his go-to.
No, I agree. And honestly, like, he was in quite a bit of danger from Urslan in that, like, on the feet early. Like, I was like, oh, this isn't going to be close. Like Jimmy Crute's just throwing out naked kicks and eating hard shots. So I definitely, within the first like 30, 45 seconds, I saw the fight going differently. And as soon as the takedown happened, like you said, like, there's just the momentum completely changed. I think Urslan made some errors on the ground as well. I don't think it was like entirely just Jimmy Crute's grappling was so good. I definitely felt like there were some times where Urslan looked like he was almost up and just kind of went back down instead of like finishing that fight to the feet, if that makes sense.
Or even just the finishing sequence in itself, that choke. I'm like, what was that? Yeah, like that was just as much of Urslan giving up as it was like Jimmy Crute. Like Jimmy Crute definitely wore him down to that point, but Urslan, there's no reason he shouldn't have been able to turn his body inward at that point.
He had the space.
Yeah, he should have been able to, like, Jimmy Crute's head was so far away from Urslan's head. There's no way that he would have had the same control for an actual like rear naked choke. He should have been able to defend that. He should have been able to turn in. And I think it was more of like a panic tap. Like, this hurts, and I'm not familiar with these positions, and I'm nervous, so I'm tapping.
No, man. Put him in the camel clutch. Is that a thing?
I don't. The commentators were saying that it was some WWE move, so I don't know if that's what he's referring to.
Hilarious if that is. That's a WWE finisher. But yeah, it was a little strange that finishing sequence. I agree. Maybe an injury combined with a giving up a little bit, but that is the wrestling move. Yeah, you called it the camel clutch. It's why we need Dave for our random WWE fact of the day. But when we talked, we were going through this card. We don't want to miss anybody. We talked about Neil Magny, best third round fighter of all time, clearly. When we did Banana Blitz on Tuesday, my underrated banger was Jack Jenkins versus Ramon Tavares. Not Tavares, Tavares. I keep messing up his name. And I was not wrong. That fight absolutely delivered. The kicks from Jack Jenkins, always. And I love that he was able to just make the adjustments from the closed stance to the open stance. Okay, the closed stance is gone. I don't have this calf kick that I'm super comfortable with. Fine, I'll kick the head. I'll kick the body. And he was just spamming those. And it was really beautiful to watch.
Yeah, I feel like Jenkins had a very good first round, like you said, with those kicks, just opening, like finding his openings just to the body, to the head, to the body, setting them up beautifully. And then the second round, Ramon Tavares made a lot of very good adjustments with his boxing, being a little bit more aggressive, closing the distance, not allowing Jack to get his kicks off as much. And then the third round, Jack made another adjustment and was like, all right, we're going to wrestle now. So I'm like, I feel like they were both just, you could see the evolution in the fight and like the fight IQ from both of them. It was definitely a great fight to watch.
No, it was super fun. Ramon Tavares, I believe, is he 0-4?
I think he's 1 I would say 1-3 or 1-4 in the UFC.
I'll pull it up real quick. And he's missed weight in 2 weight classes. I don't know what that means. However, he is a very fun fighter to watch. And those guys tend to get more 1 and 2. I'm sorry. Not as bad. That's right. Okay. Had a really good win on Contender Series. He beat Cortavius Romius. He's a Missouri guy. So I kind of came up watching him fight. Very, very talented guy. Had the split decision win over Saidi, but he missed weight. Lost to Davey Grant, and then he's just lost to Jack Jenkins at featherweight. So 1 and 2 in the UFC. I think they'll give him, hopefully they'll give him another shot, especially with how fun he is to watch. However, we saw what happened with Brian Battle. We've seen other people get cut off of issues like this. So, and they seem to be making a lot of cuts lately.
I think it just makes it better for them that the opponent said yes. Or like, I feel like that's such a big situation. Well, I don't know. I guess maybe not. Cause like we were talking earlier with the Montana De La Rosa and Luana Carolina. I'm like, Luana was the one who missed weight. Montana said no, and she got cut. Then we look at Brian Battle. His opponent said no, and Brian Battle gets cut. So I don't know. I guess it can go either way. But I feel like the fact that the fight happens is such a big thing. Like even like with the Kelvin Gastelum missing weight, even the fact that the fight was just able to happen, I think it just kind of like slides it under the table a little bit. So the fact that their opponent stepped up and accepted it and took the fight, I think is really what kind of, I don't know, gives them a little bit of that lenience because they still go out there and perform. They're not ruining they're not taking another fight away from the card, which this card couldn't afford to lose another one at that point.
Dude, I saw that Justin Taffa got cut. I'm assuming that's real. It should be. they had to replace his opponent. I'm pretty sure they signed a guy to replace his opponent, and then he pulls out fight week. Like, you can't be doing that. And both brothers were supposed to be on the card. I saw somewhere that the card originally had 17 fights and was down to 12.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. I saw 16 originally, but still similar numbers.
That's a problem. And I do think lately, I think people have kind of realized that, like, it used to be people were like, I cannot pull out, the UFC will not let me keep my job. And people were a lot more just conscious of like working to stay on the card, even when they had injuries and things like that. And then I'm not sure what happened and what changed, but I feel like maybe it had something to do with the lawsuit that the UFC dealt with. Maybe contracts are a little bit different than they used to be, or maybe people just realize, like, if we all pull out when we're injured, they can't cut everybody, you know? And it seems like lately, so many people have pulled out short notice because of injuries. And I'm not saying fighters should not pull out when they are injured. That is not what I'm saying. I absolutely think fighter safety is important, but maybe we've overcorrected a little bit where people are a little too comfortable doing that. And there's been some people that, and I hate to bring him up again. I think we talked about him recently, but Manel Kopp has been a guy like that where he has just killed some cards having to pull out of main event spots and things like that.
Whenever Dean's always talking about this to me, he's like, y'all said you were fighters. You guys said you were the baddest man on the planet. You got to prove it. You know, like, it doesn't matter. Like, I want to say Alex Bahia had like a broken toe going into when he took a fight on like a month's notice, but he's saying he's the baddest man on the planet, so he's going to do it. Like, I understand to an extent with like certain injuries, you can't take a fight, but also you're not going into a fight in perfect condition. You're going to be injured. You're not going to be 100% going in, and you kind of have to accept that as a fighter and like, just know it's the game.
Gamrot's the only one willing to fight. Gamrot is scared of no one. That dude does not give a darn. Not one single bit. Like, he is not scared of anybody. And Gamrot will fight anyone too. Like, I'm pretty sure Gamrot would fight his grandma in the UFC. Like, zero shits given. Anyone know why Norma Dumont? That's a random one. I didn't see her name come up. She fought not that long ago. Like,
doesn't she have something coming up?
I think so. Here, let's check.
Yeah, I think she has something coming up.
And then we have to talk about this main event, because I usually do that first, and I think everybody asking me why I look abused. Let's see. Yeah, she's fighting Ketlin Vieira in oh wow, nope. It has been a while. No, that's right. She was supposed to fight Raquel Pennington in September, and it didn't happen because Pennington got hurt. That's what I was thinking of. So no, she has not fought since September of 2024. So maybe she had an injury or something. But to be honest, I have not followed Norma Dumont's career that closely. But she's fighting Ketlin Vieira November 1st. So there you go, Nate. This main event, I think deep down in our hearts, we wanted Dominic Reyes to have this amazing Cinderella story, but we talked about this Tuesday, and I was like, man, if Dominic Reyes doesn't get knocked out, this is a winnable fight for him. But his chin is suspect, and Carlos Yulberg has freaking bricks for hands, and we saw it. The way he pulled Dominic Reyes into this combo at the very end, like, sorry, I keep getting distracted by the comment section. The way he kind of just kind of lulled him into this combo at the end was really beautiful, and he looked fantastic. Like, there's not really much to say. We got to see 4 minutes of this. Dominic Reyes looked very tentative.
I feel like he didn't look, even just like physically, didn't look like he was like came in the best shape. Like, right. Didn't look at
kind of looks like that though, right?
Yeah, I feel like he is, but I still feel like he looked, I don't know. He seemed a little bit, I don't know. I want to say like a little bit more like where he just didn't look like, I feel like he usually at least has like a little bit of a six pack, something like that. You know, it just didn't look like he was like in the best shape. I feel like he definitely seemed very tentative. Seemed like Ulberg was fainting a lot on the outside and just kept him like on ice skates on the out. Like he was just sitting there like scared. SG's comment. He's a little fluffy. But
here.
Yeah, Olberg was definitely fainting a lot, keeping Reyes on ice skates, keeping him guessing, keeping him like scared to do anything, scared of what's coming next, and just waiting for the opportunity till he saw the kill and just went in for it.
I don't think Reyes ever did anything to get any respect back. And especially after we saw the way he fought in his last couple fights, we saw that fire kind of come back out, you know? And I think maybe just the concern of Yolberg, he's so big, he's long, and he is scary on the feet. Like I gotta admit, like I would be scared to stand in front of that man. He's a scary dude. And so I think it was just made him a little bit more nervous to engage. And we just didn't see the same forward pressure and aggressiveness that we've been getting from Reyes over the last couple fights. And Yolberg, like, I think you see the same thing when people fight Izzy. It like, I think you think you're prepared, and then you get in front of a guy like Izzy who's so athletic and he's so twitchy, and you see the twitch and you realize how fast it is, and the feints freeze you because you're like, oh shit, you know, like there's just so much of that. I think Yolberg has a lot of that in his game as well. Olberg, am I saying it wrong? Olberg. I pulled a Dave. Yolberg.
Yeah, I think you're pulling a Dave.
My bad, guys. Sorry.
But no, definitely like just such a powerful human being, and so, like you said, just able to draw out the attack, just very patient. It was like in that fight, nothing really happened until it did. You know, it was like very slow pace, a couple leg kicks from both sides, and just a lot of feints until he saw the kill and like just exploded on it.
It's so funny, like when we compare this to the rest of the card, there was definitely like the Matthews fight was very technical. The Jack Jenkins was very technical. Ramon Tavares even looked pretty solid in the boxing. But like the most of the card overall was like super fun, not so technical. This fight, I feel like, was just a tactical masterclass from Olberg. Like you said, he didn't do a lot, but being able to slow the fight down like that, that's a skill in and of itself, you know?
Oh, no, 100%. Just being able to have that tempo change, being able to slow it down and then choose whenever you're like, all right, now we're picking it back up. Now I'm going to come at you. That tempo change in, like, I feel like it's speed, tempo, direction, just being able to change all of those. And that's what's keeping your opponent on ice skates on the outside.
Yeah, no, 100%. For Olberg, like he's next in line for a title shot, in my opinion. Yes. I mean, Olberg's on a bigger win streak, isn't he? Than either Roundtree or Yuri. Let's compare. Let's compare real quick. This is the last thing we're gonna do, guys, and then I gotta run. But we will definitely talk more about this on Tuesday, I am sure. So let's see. Olberg. I don't know why my brain wants to say Yolberg. It sounds like I'm saying like a German name when I say that. Okay. Yeah, dude. The dude hasn't lost since 2021. Since his UFC debut. That's what we're dealing with Olberg. Yuri has been a little more up and down. He is only losing to the best. But like, let's see what we're looking at lately for Yuri. Lately for Yuri, he's on a 1-fight win streak. Khalil Roundtree, I think, is similar. I think maybe 2 since he lost to Alex. And obviously both their last losses, Yuri and Roundtree, I believe both of their last losses are Alex Pereira. So you can't really scoff at that. They're literally both on 1-fight win streaks over Jamal Hill. So, like, I guess you could argue that maybe Olberg needs one more.
I don't know, but I'm just looking at his record now. Names like Jan Blachowicz and Dominic Reyes, like, it's not like those are nobodies that he's beating. Like, those are 2 big names to have that I think do put you kind of in that position.
Yeah, no, I agree. And honestly, I disagree with this, Duke. I think you could make Olberg next either way. But I got elbowed in the face yesterday at sparring. It happens. Apparently only to me, but I'm just kidding. I think you can make the case for Olberg to fight either guy, to be honest. I really do. I like, we don't want to see, if the same thing happens between Ankalaev and Pereira, I don't ever want to see that fight again. I will be upset if the UFC makes that fight again. So I think it makes more sense to just let Olberg have that shot. Yes, it's a more enticing matchup to do Olberg and Pereira just because of the styles, but I think you can make the argument for either. But
Olberg and Roundtree. That's the fight I want to see.
honestly, I'd be fine with that. If they're just like, hey, none of you deserve a title shot next. Like after Ankalaev and Pereira fight, like we'll have Olberg fight winner of Roundtree and what's his face?
Yuri.
Thank you. I was just looking at it. Clearly, I'm a little concussed. But yeah, I'd be fine with that too. Honestly, I kind of want to see him fight Yuri, just because Yuri's like kind of a hard puzzle.
Yeah, no, I think both of them would be interesting matchups, honestly. I think I'm almost more interested in those versus watching him fight like Ankalaev.
Yeah. I'm not interested in watching Ankalaev fight anybody, to be honest.
Where's Dakota Ditcheva?
I respect how good he is, but it's just like, it's just not interesting.
Mm.
You know? We usually know what's going to happen, and it's usually not that fun to watch.
It's just like this sport, it is more than just being good. You do have like Marab's a good wrestler too, but he also knows how to make it interesting. He knows how to make it fun. He knows how to showboat a little bit too and make himself a good character and make himself a personality. I'm like, it is more than just being good.
No, I agree. Okay, guys. I'm sorry we didn't get to all the comments today. We love you. We have to run. We got to do it. I'm sorry. I would love to talk about MMA all freaking day with Gillian and you guys, but we have other things to do. We love you. Tuesday, we will be back to our regularly scheduled program, 1 to 3. I think we've got some guests coming this week. Not sure who yet. I'll have to talk to Dave, but it should be fun. What else is going on this week? We have UFC 320. There will also be something out at some point. Leah, Destiny, and I will all be breaking down UFC 320. So that'll be a good time. But we love you all. We will see you Tuesday. Do you have anything else to say to the people, Gillian?
No, I think that's good.
Cool. Bye, guys. Have a good Sunday.